Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to review Thor Love and Thunder. I got the chance to see it a couple days ago. I didn't review it yesterday. I was going to, but I just didn't have time because I had a lot going on yesterday. So today I decided to try to review it, and I'm going to talk about it. Tomorrow I'll be doing my Thor movies ranked. So that'll be exciting. And then Wednesday will probably be Kenobi. Thursday I'm going to finish up. I'm going to start Miss Marvel, and then later I'm going to come up with my list so that I can rank all MCU final battles. Maybe I'll throw in an MCU tier list in there after She-Hulk is done, plus MCU TV shows ranked. I'll figure it out. And then Hobbit will be coming soon, Harry Potter will be coming soon, The Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Still haven't watched it yet, but eventually after I do MCU final battles, that's what I'm going to do. So without further ado, I think we can get into this one. Starting things off with what it's about. So after Endgame, Thor's with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it feels kind of alone. He's still trying to find himself after all of this time, because he needs someone to be with him, someone to sort of he needs love. There's that plot line, and then Jane Foster picks up the hammer and starts being Thor, and then there's Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, which I think he's a good villain. What happened was his child got taken away from him because she passed away or in like a desert, and then he went to the gods to see if they could help him, but they wouldn't. So he now has a grudge against all gods and wants all gods to die. And then Thor has to stop this being. There you go. It's more complicated than that, but I don't want to go into everything. Starting off the good, I think what this movie does, and it does it pretty well, it entertained me. Like, even though I do think it has a lot of issues, it did entertain me for 2 hours. And I like how it wasn't that long. It didn't feel like so short. But overall, I think what they were trying to do, I think I have a lot of issues with it. I'll go into those later. But just starting off with the good, I think overall, I was never really bored from it. There was always things I enjoyed. They threw jokes in, which did not work, but overall I was pretty entertained. I'm definitely talking more positive in this than I actually feel at the movie, but I'll get into my faults later. So I think Chris Hemsworth, even though I don't really think he's doing a good job as Thor, I think he's good. He has great comedic timing as he did in Ragnarok, so I think that plays pretty well here. When it comes to this very goofy movie, I think Natalie Portman, this is by far her best outing as Jane Foster. She does a good job. I think the plot line about her becoming Thor is better than I was expecting. I was expecting that to be the main fault of the movie, but clearly wasn't. The way she becomes Thor, I cannot believe what they were doing, but other than that, I think once she becomes Thor, and I ignore that, I think she does a good job. I like how I like how she did die in the end. It wasn't like an emotional death or anything. And the way she died was a little odd because it just doesn't make sense to the movie. But I think it worked for the character, and I think Natalie Portman does a good job. You actually buy into the chemistry between her and Thor. You buy into them falling back in love. And I think that part of it's pretty good. I think Christian Bale, here's the thing. He's weird as Gore the God Butcher. I think it's not hit the kind of role I would expect him to be in, but he does a good job. It's just he was not the right. I don't think he was the right casting. In all honesty, I know some people don't feel that way. Some people love him. I think he's a good villain. I'd say he's one of the better parts of the movie, but I think just the way he plays out some scenes just looks odd. He's a little goofy at times, and it's just the part where he tells the story. And he did not have enough screen time. But overall, Christian Bale does a good job. But that's where a lot of my praises end. Now we have the mixed, and it's tough to really define the mixed from bad, honestly, but here's the thing. I think the main thing about the mixed, I was just trying to come up, because there's a lot of issues. So the thing I mainly have in the mixed is the usage of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're promoted a lot in the very first trailer with Guns N' Roses' song, Sweet Child of Mine, and then they were just used for the first 20 minutes, and then they immediately just deported them from everything else. So they just had to get them out because they were not needed in the movie, which I think that was kind of dumb, because I think one of my excitements for the movie was seeing Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that one or Guardians of the Galaxy. I was excited to see that, but come on, really? They could have actually used that. I mean, I didn't hate that or anything. It didn't really bother me that much. As we got later in the movie, I didn't care that much about it. But at the beginning, I was they had this very cheesy sequence, and then they're out of here. So, and then Yeah, I just play. There's things that I played for jokes way too much, but I'll get that's more of a flaw. I'll just wait till the bad to discuss that. And then the other thing in the mix, so I think there's a lot of tonal issues also where you have Jane having cancer versus the very sort of lively, exciting parody comedy tone, and then also there's themes about gods and the fact that maybe that the person we look up to religiously that they might always not answer to us. What they bring some themes like why is there if there's a God that's supposed to be perfect, why is there pain in this world? Why did COVID exist? So I think it brings up some themes, but I wish they didn't. I wish they played into that, but it's just a comedy essentially. I have the bad and first thing, there's a lot of issues. Jane, the way she became Thor, it literally seems she literally says to the hammer, protect Jane whenever she's needed to be protected, I guess. I don't know. And then essentially because of that, then she literally, so that means if he says that, like for example, if he wanted to say protect, he could have just done that for a lot of the time. He could have said protect, I don't know, Valkyrie, or he could have like done that. He could have done that all the time, every time, all the time, and it just doesn't. It just introduces a plot, so like he can essentially just do that, and like yeah, and then he does this again also with the kids at the end. I made for like a fun sequence. I like the idea of it, but like they just bring in this idea that he could essentially just give his powers to anybody. So they just introduce these things that just don't make sense. And I don't know, it really bugged me throughout the movie. Also, at the end, the whole thing with the eternity, with the eternal wish, it's a good idea, but at the same time, the first thing I was like, oh, cool. But then the second time, I realized, wait, why didn't Thanos just go after this? Why did he go after the Infinity Stones? This would have been way more useful to him. I mean, it would have probably been harder to get to. He might have known about it, but still. So, yeah, that did not really work for me. And also, the Zeus character is literally just played for jokes, played for laughs, not taken seriously whatsoever. And then what the post-credit scene teased with the Hercules as being the main villain if they do another one, is that, so because I just didn't care about the God character, even though it's the guy from Ted Lasso, I think that literally they're just throwing it in, and it's just going to make the next one. So, if Taika Waititi is another Thor movie, I feel like I'm just not going to be that excited because he just went too far. You'd expect like Kevin. So that leaves my next part about the bad is the tone in that everything is a parody now. So first one, Thor doing split kicks like Van Damme. It's fun. I actually found it pretty funny. As a decent fan of Van Damme, Bloodsport's a great movie. I enjoy it. Yeah, that just doesn't work. I mean, it's just meant to be a thing that's played for laughs. That whole first sequence is just not good because it's just played for laughs. They're throwing weird jokes at the most random times, and then it's just nothing is taken seriously in this movie. They're just essentially making a parody, and you would have expected Kevin Feige to be like, tell Taika Waititi, okay, you need to stop, but then he just didn't. So now we have this movie. So and then it also takes away from parts like in this movie we also have a guy who has a grudge against gods, wants to kill all gods, and then they could have explored a theme involving maybe we shouldn't fully believe in our gods or something like that. But then it's a comedy, so we can't lean into that. And then Jane having cancer, just very odd tonal shifts. It really just does that part of it. That whole thing just doesn't work. Like they throw in jokes way too much. Even more, I complained about it in Ragnarok. But I think Ragnarok a lot of it, I think but the thing is that it feels like good writing, like a lot of the time. I'm not fully excusing some things, like throwing the Hulk joke, and that one was weird. But like, some of them actually work, like when they have Jeff Goldblum cracking jokes in the middle of tension sequences, that works because that's his character. Thor is not meant to be a parody of himself. So in that case, it just doesn't work. And then, I don't know, just the overall lively tone. I wish this went for a bit more of a darker tone, and then it could have been a really good movie, but they just made the lighter tone. Plot holes involving the hammer. I could go on and on about a lot of this stuff, but overall, I'm not. But I still enjoyed it. It was entertaining, but with all these flaws, I think it's definitely one of the worst MCU movies. I don't know where I'm gonna rank it now. I'm not gonna do another full-on MCU ranking until a while. Probably not until after maybe Ant-Man comes out. So we'll see what happens there. For this movie's final score, I'm trying to think. This is kind of tricky because I didn't hate it or anything, but I just didn't really like it that much. I think this is one of the weaker MCU movies, so I think in the end I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I think that's a fair run. So I didn't hate it or anything. I didn't really. I mean, I think some people definitely dislike this more than I did. Not the bottom tier, but I think it's near the bottom tier. Probably like D tier, I'd say. I had a lot of issues with it. I mean, I'll be interested to watch it again because honestly, it was still an entertaining movie. It's still a movie I mildly enjoyed, which is what keeps it. Because at least on like Dark World, it wasn't boring. So I was never bored of it. So yeah, I was not a big fan. But tell me what you thought about it in the comments below. Let me know. Did you enjoy it, or are you mixed like me, or did you hate it like a couple of my friends did? So I'm interested to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.